Hey, good morning. I'm Patricia Murphy. It's Friday. This is Seattle Now. This week, the results from the general election continue to roll in. The Port of Seattle is cracking down on people parking on the highway shoulder by the airport, and Seattle's pro-women's hockey team announced their new name right after someone leaked it. Geekwire founder Todd Bishop and weekly Seattle podcast host Rachel Horgan are here to break down the week. But first, let's get you caught up. Sound Transit is planning to tie the knot between Seattle and the East Side in 2026. But to connect the 1 and 2 lines, the agency says there will need to be strategic closures of the 1 line. That'll start this weekend through the end of the year. Tomorrow, the 1 line will be closed between the U District station and the Westlake station until 2 p.m. Buses will fill the gap, but Sound Transit anticipates at least 13 more days with some degree of 1 line closure before the end of the year. Speaking of transportation, Seattle-Tacoma International Airport will soon have fewer flights in and out. The FAA mandated this week that the country's 40 busiest airports reduce flights by 10% to maintain safety. This comes during a strain on air traffic controllers who are not getting paid during the federal shutdown. The Port of Seattle says they won't immediately reduce flights 10%, but will instead ramp up to that over the coming days. International flights are said not to be affected. And both of Seattle's soccer teams are doing well right now. The Reign are in the playoffs. Today, they're in Orlando for a quarterfinal match against the Orlando Pride starting at 5 p.m. The Sounders are also in the postseason. They're currently tied with Minnesota United 1-1. On Saturday, starting at 1 p.m., they play the tie-breaking match to decide who moves into the quarterfinals. Check back for more headlines on tonight's episode of Seattle Now. It's Friday again. Hope you've stayed mostly dry this week. Todd Bishop is here. He's the founder of Geekwire and the host of the Geekwire podcast. Todd, good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm here and I'm soaked.
I know it. It has been quite a week. Rachel Horgan's here. She hosts the weekly Seattle podcast and is a Casual Friday first-timer. Rachel, we're going to go easy on you.
Oh, I hope so. I'm excited to be here. It's nice to be on the other side of the mic.
Thanks for coming in. Okay, you two, before we dive in, during pickups at the airport, you may have been tempted to pull onto the shoulder instead of using the cell phone lot. You have likely seen the cars, if you haven't done it, lined up along the highway shoulder, waiting for their person to text and say they've landed or have their luggage. This is a big pet peeve and a big pain for SeaTac Airport, but it's been hard to control. Todd, I'm going to start with you. What do you think when you see these vehicles? Do you do this?
No, I do not do this.
Oh, thank God.
I get very cranky. I thought we solved this problem 5 years ago. And, I know that this probably is not a privilege of being on the Seattle Now podcast, but if I could be the KUOW assigning editor for even 5 minutes, I would send somebody out there with a mic to ask these people, what in the heck are you doing?
Who are you?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I see it. I travel a lot more for work, and I see them on the sides of the roads. I did do a little bit of a Reddit deep dive, so it was my own version of that. Because cell phone lot, hello?
Yes.
You're making me feel crazy. There's a cell phone lot. It's super easy, in and out, whatever. In my Reddit deep dive, I found that people have had a lot of problems with the cell phone lot.
It is an entire scene. It is a scene in the cell phone lot, but I'm sorry. I don't have any sympathy. I don't have any sympathy. You need a strategy. What is your strategy when you pick somebody up from the airport? To pull over on the shoulder? Go to the cell phone lot. Do you have a strategy, Todd?
I go to the cell phone lot. I time it. I'll occasionally go to the nearby Burger King in Burien. I mean, something other than sitting on the side of the road and putting yourself and everybody else at risk. I mean, I could go on. I feel, a little bit like a crank on this topic.
I'll take that spot.
This is not something people should be doing. Again, I thought we solved this 5 years ago. Seattle people are supposed to follow the rules. This is the town where we stand on the sidewalk. We stand on the sidewalk waiting for the light to turn green to allow us to walk across the street.
That's true.
What are we doing at the airport, and why do all of our manners go away?
With all of the ways to track flights, I have a whole thing. I will start watching your flight as soon as you take off. I'm not leaving for the airport until I absolutely need to.
Yeah, I mean, I play a little bit of that game too, but here's the thing. We are the most expensive city for ride shares, so we are now leaning more. I personally am taking my friends to the airport a lot more than I ever have, and so I think we're seeing a lot more people doing that. I'm an event planner as well, so I think about human behavior. So if everyone's doing something, let's figure out like why they're doing that. What's the why behind it? And what I'm seeing is people are saying that it takes up to 30 minutes to get out of the cell phone lot. I have not experienced that.
That is not my experience.
This is from like the Reddit comments, and they're saying the in and out flow isn't good. The light doesn't let enough cars out.
That's true.
And I think there could be more, like, are we advertising the cell phone lot? Are we saying how close it is? Can we add a few more spots? Like, can we add, let's go the proactive route of let's listen to what the problem is and have it solve instead of the punitive.
I like that you're a solutions-focused person. Rachel, you are solutions-oriented. Well, the Port of Seattle and WashDOT are just going to step up enforcement of shoulder squatters. There are tons of orange cones everywhere to try to deter drivers. The Port Police Commissioner told KUOW 7 they've given out more than 100 tickets in a single shift. It's a $50 fine for idling on the shoulder. The port is working to increase the price of the ticket. I wonder if $50 is enough for people to just be like, yeah, come for me.
I mean, when an Uber is 100, I don't know.
Sure. Maybe it's just too convenient to break the rules and risk the ticket.
It really must be. They were talking at one point about using automated license plate scanning to do this. I don't know if that's actually happening, but something to crack down on this. And I agree. Boost the fine. $200, $250.
That's it. No sympathy from Todd Bishop.
I'm with you. I don't like it either. I think it's unsafe.
You're usually a pretty nice guy, Todd. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Well, here's another solution. You could just pick your person up at the light rail and keep things simple,
there
right?
You go.
All right, on to the big story of the week. What an election night. We've been breaking down results all week. The race to watch still undecided between Mayor Bruce Harrell and challenger Katie Wilson. Later ballot drops tend to lean more progressive historically, but Harrell actually increased his lead by just a bit after Wednesday's tally. Just a note, listeners, we're taping this on Thursday afternoon, so we're not yet aware of any shifts that may be coming during the vote drop today. So go easy on us. Rachel, you were a featured speaker at one of the approximately 10,000 mayoral debates over the past few months. What did you take away from the experience? What'd you learn?
Yeah, it was kind of my first entry into Katie Wilson, and so I was trying to come in with an open mind and really hear what both candidates had to say.
Yeah.
My question that I asked both of them was around affordability, specifically, like I mentioned, the rideshare costs and also how expensive it is to run a restaurant and go to a restaurant. I was a little disappointed in Harrell's response. It felt a little bit like a too bad, so sad, and moved on. One thing I was picking up on, though, is just how each of them present themselves. Yeah. I think, we're human. We're going to notice their confidence, how they hold themselves. Harrell's obviously a very practiced speaker, so I think that helped him. The last thing I'll say on that is, I think it was interesting that Harrell was so adamant about talking about his experience. And I'm like, you know what people hate? Experienced politicians. Like, no, like you're kind of saying, like, look at me and all this.
No longer in vogue.
No one wants that. Like, you've been here for so many years. So I thought he could have done a better job of talking about what he's done and how he can do it better and all of that.
Okay. All right. Todd, were you surprised by the early results in the mayor's race?
In a couple ways. First off, given how well Katie Wilson did in the primary, I thought that it was going to be a much closer race even than it is. Yeah. But I was also really fascinated by the savvy that Mayor Harrell's campaign put into some of the last-minute social media pushes, cherry-picking a lot of the moments in those debates. There was one that I got as a push text notification that had to do with whether or not there should be camping allowed in Seattle parks that I thought was very effective. So in that way, it makes sense to me that Mayor Harrell is effectively bucking this trend of the last-minute ballots being more progressive. And obviously with him in the more moderate camp, it's a bit of a surprise, and it'll be really interesting to see how it shakes out.
If you were refreshing election results at 8 p.m. sharp Tuesday night, you were definitely not alone. Lots of civically engaged Seattleites were doing the same thing. We waited about 15 minutes for the first results to post, and when they did, some statewide races were displaying inaccurate results. Seattle Times officially inquired and then reported. The state's main voter data system has been continuously upgraded since it was released in 2019, while the Secretary of State's results generator has not kept up with the pace of technology, leading to glitches. At one point, both candidates in a hotly contested state legislative race looked like they each had more than 100% of the vote.
Yes, I can see where it was very jarring for people who were logging on right after the election results came in to see that, obviously something was wrong. Let me just say, from my own personal experience with legacy websites and old databases, I have a lot of empathy for the state elections officials. It's one thing to say, yes, these newfangled computer systems should work properly, and it's another thing to actually make them do that under pressure, on deadline. I totally get it. I feel for them.
I fear that not everybody has that mindset, and they might question the actual results based on just this one piece of software. My other thing I think about is, why is AI literally everywhere and like wanting to help me write my Instagram message to an ex, but we can't fix this? Like, it's just such a bummer that we have all this unnecessary tech, but we can't have tech that can work here.
The glitches were resolved pretty quickly, so I wonder if that makes it okay.
Better to have some weird glitch than to have AI hallucinating the results, I guess.
True.
Sure. It was also clear something was off, right? Would it be more or less acceptable if the glitches were less noticeable? If it was just, half a percentage point or whatever?
Yes, at least it was hilariously wrong.
Yeah, we might be having a much different conversation if that was just half a percentage point that never got,
Yeah, I think it would hurt trust a lot more.
It might. This doesn't inspire confidence necessarily, but it also inspires a little bit of comedy, which might help.
Exactly.
All right. One election that's going under the radar at city level, and one that the two of you happen to know a lot about, Seattle Prop 2, the business and occupation tax. That's looking like it's going to pass at this point. It will increase the tax on Seattle's largest businesses. The Downtown Seattle Association was opposed to it. They say the city already had the highest B&O tax in the country. Rachel, what are you thinking about this? How are you thinking about this?
I have so many thoughts on this. First of all, anything John Scholes says at DSA, I'm going to believe because he knows. I think he knows his stuff. But I think I see a lot of the advertisements and the TikToks of let's tax big business, save the small business. Sure, I'm all about that. I think where we get confused is what is big business, because the line is $2 million of revenue. I interview CEOs every week. I've gotten to know a lot more about the business community. And let me tell you, $2 million in revenue is not a lot. And I want to be clear, revenue, not profit. So it's money coming in. And for example, like you probably haven't heard of Swoop Scoop. They make about $2 million. That's a little pooper scooper company.
Sure.
Marination is at $8 million. Molly Moons is $13 million. They're way above that. So think about all these tiny $2 million companies that are going to be paying more.
So that's good perspective.
Yeah, so I wasn't about it. I get, I want to help small businesses, but at what cost? Who's going to be ending up paying the bill? And you also have to think about some of these companies that are low margin. So they've got a lot of revenue coming in, but also have a lot of expenses, and that's not being counted. A good example of that is grocery stores. I think it got a little confusing for the average voter.
Todd, the proposition increases taxes on big businesses in the city, which is hard not to think about tech in this instance. What have you heard about the B&O tax in the tech sector?
Well, the interesting thing about this is for businesses that are in that 5 million, 10 million revenue range, the increase is relatively small compared to things like the prior jumpstart tax on payroll. So I don't think you've seen the big reaction from the tech industry to the idea of this B&O tax getting marginally increased. And then on top of that, you've also got this state tax where they're starting to charge retail tax, sales tax, to companies that offer digital services. And to me, there's only so much outrage to go around. And I think that has become the target for a lot of these digital businesses. So really, a lot of these businesses, it just can only put so much outrage into so many areas.
I think it's also at a time where businesses are already feeling such increased costs. There's increased labor costs. We've got the tariffs. We had the minimum wage with restaurants. And I think they're kind of feeling like, really? Another one?
They're picking on us again.
Right. And it's a 4-year deal. And so I think there's this feeling of, why are these medium-sized businesses who are providing jobs responsible for fixing your deficit, and how do we plan for it if it's only 4 years, all of that?
Something you said is interesting, though, that people may have been a little confused by this. What makes you think that? And is it difficult as a voter to get the full picture sometimes?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, part of the reason that I know this is from running a podcast and doing a lot of Googling and all that. I think the way it was portrayed was, have the big businesses pay their fair share in Seattle and help the small businesses. That is a line that I think we all agree with and all support. But we're talking about these 10 million, 30 million. In context, Amazon's annual revenue is $638 billion. So when we say big business, I think people think Amazon, Microsoft, Google. They're not thinking of the pooper scooper company down the street.
Sure. And $2 million, like you said, is not a whole lot of money in 2025.
Well, to put it in context, depending on the kind of business you're talking about, I mean, it could be a 6 or 7 person company at $2 million in revenue. And that is a small business. I think many of us would agree. And when you get up to 20, 30, 40, then you're talking about, many more millions in revenue. And it seems like the definition here was out of touch with the reality of what actually makes for a small business.
All right, well, let's keep on this theme of business and tech. Let's talk about a new innovation from one of our local companies. The first, an innovation you can wear. Amazon's new smart delivery glasses designed to help drivers deliver packages futuristically. And I have to pause right here to mention that Amazon may pop up as an advertiser on your podcast when you listen to our show. Todd, you tested these glasses last month. Tell me what it was like.
I got a chance to try these out at an Amazon event in the Bay Area. And the basic idea, and these are only for delivery drivers. This is not something that you or I, unless we go to work for Amazon, which who knows, maybe we will at some point. But the idea is that as these drivers are, after they park their vehicle and they're going to deliver a package, there's a little green patch of text in the lower right-hand side of the right-hand lens, and it gives you this key information. It tells you the type of package you're delivering. It actually scans the packages for you as you're, going in through the back of the truck. It tells you where to go. It's basically a hands-free experience for the drivers. It was pretty cool. In my limited experience, I was concerned about potentially focusing too much on that text and not on the world around me. I talked to a driver who'd been trying it for about 2 months. He said that over time you sort of grow accustomed to that. It is notable, though, you don't get to use it. They're not activated for the drivers when driving. So Amazon's very careful about that. It's only after the van turns off, it's parked, that the drivers are able to
activate them.
Yes.
Interesting. All right, important note that this is not the only smart glass experience out there. You may have seen our tech-minded residents around town wearing Meta Ray-Ban glasses. Rachel, have you ever used smart glasses before?
No.
Do you think you would use something like this?
Here's where I would use it. If I am at a bar, I'd want to put these glasses on and be like, they're single, they're married, they're 45, they have kids.
I want a LinkedIn integration where you go to an event and when
Todd's
you'll
so
appreciate
professional.
this.
I'm like, who can I date?
Yes, but no, but you know this as an event organizer, Rachel. Like the hallmark of the good events for me is when the badge flips over and you still have the name on the other side.
Oh my God, yeah.
So, but most events don't have that. I want that in my glasses to say it's sort of like the person whispering behind the vice president in
From Veep?
You know,
Yeah.
yes.
That's what I want.
Jane Smith, you met her 3 months ago.
She has 2 kids in college.
She's a VP at Amazon.
Don't bring up her husband.
That would be so helpful.
Those are the glasses I want.
I agree. I could also see it if I'm going to make a big purchase or try to buy a bunch of things. It'd be like, this is your bank account. Are you sure?
No, man, that one would be more like Clippy to me. That one would be gonzo in 10 seconds. Todd, you also got to experience a new and improved delivery driver safety course, a slip and fall simulator, a VR training device for hidden hazards, and a Rivian van driving simulator. What kind of job is this? This is fun.
This is a very tough job. I will tell you, I walked away from all of these demos very humbled. I slipped and I fell. They put you in a harness so
Really?
that you didn't actually fall. But yes,
That must be scary.
I drove the simulated Rivian van onto sidewalks. Just let me tell you, do not give me this job. It was cool. And Amazon's whole point here is obviously they're trying to underscore that, they're being as safe as possible. They're training drivers as much as possible and that I should not be doing this work.
Wow.
Right.
Rachel, how would you have done on any of these jobs?
Oh, amazing. I'm the best at everything. I think my whole thing is what are we solving for? And I want to make sure that is it actually training people? Is it actually helpful? Or are we just creating things to create things? I think in person is always going to be great. I think people obviously adding in some virtual was probably helpful. But if it was just virtual, I'd be a really great race driver from Need for Speed. So,
yes.
All right. Solutions-based and results-driven. Rachel. All right, another quick bit of Amazon news. Shopping at Amazon-owned Whole Foods is somewhat different than shopping at other stores. You are not going to be able to find a bag of Flaming Hot Cheetos next to the 365 brand cheese puffs. And that is intentional, right? Things are changing, though. Whole Foods is debuting concept stores that bring name brands into the fold using an automated fulfillment center to create a store within a store. Shoppers will see a screen where they can browse products and they'll pick it up after they're done shopping. Whole Foods is mostly known for its own store brand stuff and its fresh fruit and vegetable spread. But now you can get name brands like Doritos, Prego, and Chef Boyardee. Does this water down the Whole Foods experience, or does it solve the Whole Foods disappointment thing when you're like, I want to go get quote-unquote organic blah blah food, but really I could use a Coca-Cola?
I have a lot of questions on this, but my first thought is I shop at Trader Joe's a lot, and what they don't have is my Hidden Valley Ranch or like regular toilet paper or ketchup. Like, I understand the need to go to a separate store.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, Amazon owns Whole Foods, which I think some people forget. And so if maybe they're trying to have people have Whole Foods be their one-stop shop. You've got your organic stuff, and also you can get your Hidden Valley Ranch. Nobody has to know. But where I get confused is the whole do it on the screen and then wait 10 minutes later. This feels like the barrier when you're trying to buy a razor at like CVS and you have to like wait for the person and you're like, forget it, I'll just grow out my leg hair.
Yes.
So this feels like an added barrier. And if I'm going to be on a screen, why wouldn't I just be on my screen at home? This
speaks to me what you're saying, because I feel like they're trying to do too much here. They're trying to have it both ways, still maintain the Whole Foods experience. Mm-hmm. While giving you everything else.
Well, and why not put it on the shelves if it's already there?
Exactly.
This has been Amazon's challenge since acquiring Whole Foods. This notion of the organic and Whole Foods experience, this has been something that's been a struggle. Amazon does not want you to go down the street to the Safeway or the Albertsons or the Fred Meyer or wherever you may be in the country. They want you to stay there. And I agree, it's a little bit disjointed. The whole notion of going down the aisle, seeing a screen, and one of the demos that I saw, they had the 365 spaghetti sauce, and then literally you would go on there and there was the Prego spaghetti sauce.
Yeah.
And so it's in competition with. That said, the technology behind the scenes is pretty cool. They've got robots fulfilling these orders for you while you shop. And so, for me, I'd at least want to try it out. Who knows if it would become something that would be, native to what I do as a shopper, but I at least want to see how it works.
Okay, I was picturing like when you go to the pharmacy and you have to like wait for them to go back and get the drug. They're like, hold on, we'll go get your ranch. That makes more sense. It'd be robots.
All right, one last thing before we go. Seattle Professional Women's Hockey League team has a new name. It rolls off the tongue a little better than PWHL Seattle. Welcome to the city, the Seattle Torrent.
Seattle Torrent. Ooh.
Do you like the name?
I have lots of thoughts on this.
All right. This is where you say them.
The name is okay. To me, if you look at the history of Seattle team sports names, you had the Sonics and the Mariners, which were kind of an homage to industry. And since then, it's been all about the weather. The storm, the rain, although, that's a play on words. It's not really the rain. And now you got the torrent.
Though. Rachel, what do you think of the name?
Okay, I know people in leadership at PWHL, so I am going to keep my opinions a little tight-lipped, but I will say...
All right,
I'll say what I'm reading. So I'm reading a lot. I'm reading that people don't mind the name. They are a little disappointed it wasn't the Seattle Hydras partnering with Kraken in terms of like sea creature.
Sure.
Why can't we do that? I'm also hearing people aren't loving the logo. It's giving Canva. It's giving AI. And it's all giving toothpaste is what they're saying.
We mentioned Aquafresh, a little bit of Aquafresh going on there.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
they've got time to work on that.
Everyone's going to have an opinion on logo.
Yeah.
It's going to grow on people.
Exactly.
I'm really excited for it. I'm going to home opener, and I could not be more thrilled for PWHL.
All right. Well, the team officially announced the name at an event on Thursday. Reporter host Paige Browning was there, said people like the name. About 60 or 70 people lined up to buy new merch at the pop-up store they had set up. Rachel, you were there. What was the scene like?
I ran into Paige. I got emotional. It is really, really cool to see so much support. I saw people from, Rough and Tumble owner, the CEO of Sheraton, who's the official hotel partner for PWHL, anybody in UW. I saw all these people that are wanting to support and are so excited, and the energy was electric. It was really cool.
It's a little bit of a bummer that the torrent had its thunder stolen when local hockey blog Emerald City Hockey caught the new name and logo on the team website 2 days early. I don't know if this was a clicky problem, but the fact that Vancouver, BC was getting a PWHL team also leaked back in April. 2 mistakes from PWHL websites leading to leaks?
I think it has positive outcomes. I think people, think about all the Taylor Swift people that love to look for clues and hints. And people love to find out this kind of stuff. And think about, all the buzz, all the articles that are happening. I think it got people talking.
I wouldn't have known about the announcement so early were it not for the mistake.
There you go.
What I think is that we need to get the PWHL web developers together with the elections office people.
Right.
And maybe they could, combine their efforts.
There's a happy medium.
And get it right.
It's hard to break through the noise sometimes. I think maybe a leaked announcement might get a little more attention. And we are going to leave it there. Todd Bishop is the founder of Geekwire. Rachel Horgan hosts the weekly Seattle podcast. Nice to see you, Rachel. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
Todd, good to see you.
Likewise, go Torrent.
That's right.
Appreciate you listening to Seattle Now. Today's episode was produced by Vaughn Jones. It was edited by Caroline Chamberlain Gomez. Our production team also includes Brooklyn Jamerson Flowers, Andy Hurst, and Paige Browning. Greg Kramer does our theme music. Seattle Now and KUOW Public Radio are members of the NPR network. I'm Patricia Murphy. See you soon.